Sveiki visi. Hello everyone. Today we have yet another Tribe of AI and Artificial Intelligence Association of Lithuania meetup. And today we have a very exciting topic, Kaggle, success stories, experiences, tips and tricks. So let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Dariuss. If you want to connect with me, you can do that on LinkedIn. I am involved in with the machine learning community in a number of ways, mostly as the president of the Artificial Intelligence Association of Lithuania, as well as Vinted's team lead of the machine learning team, also as founder of Tribe of AI and data science lead in Turing College. And today we have, as I mentioned, pretty exciting meetup. Today we'll have very interesting panel discussion, Kaggle, success stories, experiences, and tips and tricks. We have various Kagglers joining us today, and it's going to be amazing to hear their stories and their advice for the rest of us. In addition, we are going to announce our own Kaggle hackathon. So Artificial Intelligence Association of Lithuania is we are doing our own hackathon, and my fellow board member Linas Petkevičius is going to tell you more about the rules of the hackathon, the start, and like in general, how to participate. After all, we have a short networking session, so if you want to ask some questions or just chat with the participants of the panel discussion or Linas or myself. But before all of that, we'll have a very short session of some community updates, because like some new things are also happening and in the community, and I'd like to update you on this. So first of all, this is our 7th joint meetup, and very happy that it's already been more than half a year that we are doing the Tribe of AI and the AI Association is doing the meetups together. Also, we are finally launching a new F-class. I mean, Tribe of AI is finally launching a new beginner class, or total beginners. F-class means total beginners, and we are going to announce registration for that today. So if you feel that you're not ready to start participating in Kaggle just yet, maybe you can join Tribe of AI and start learning programming with Python, and then continue building your skills towards machine learning and deep learning. So the deadline for the registration is going to be till the 7th of April, and our first meeting is going to be on the 10th of April. So that's the most important news from the community. And now we are ready to do the discussion. Let me quickly welcome the participants. So the participants are going to be Andrius Grebys, like my colleague from Vinted, also very experienced Kaggler, also Dariuss Barušauskas, machine learning engineer from Oxipit, and also Paulus Kitra, my I guess fellow member of Tribe of AI, member of an S-class of Tribe of AI. So guys, if you can turn on your cameras now, I'm going to stop the screen share, and I'm going to ask you first of all to introduce yourselves. So let's start with Dariuss. Dariuss, can you quickly tell us about your background? How did you started like using Kaggle? What was the circumstances and your motivation?
Hello, everyone. So I myself am like a statistician. I have a master's degree in econometrics. So I have worked with data all my life, actually. So I have worked in financial sector for a few years, where I built various financial models involving credit risk and similar stuff. And 5 years ago, I discovered Kaggle. I thought it was a nice opportunity to learn new skills, to develop myself as a better programmer and such. And when I joined 5 years ago, I knew little about machine learning. Well, I was good at statistics and such, but I was kind of new to machine learning, but I was able to learn things pretty fast. And since I joined the community, the Kaggle community, I was able to reach rank 4 in overall standings. So this community has its own standings, and overall fourth place is very thing I'm very proud of. So it's a lifetime achievement, I think. Yeah.
Right, great, Dariuss. Just to make sure, you didn't reach number 4 in Lithuania. You reached the global ranking, right?
It was global rank among 100,000 data scientists.
Yep, great. Paulus, could you go next?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Paulus. Very happy to be here. Happy to see so many data science enthusiasts joining here and watching this panel. So I myself running a job classifieds company in Estonia called CV Keskus. In Latvia, Lithuania, we are under brand CV Market. So we are a data company where our main product is the access to the talents. And during my day job, I'm in the general management, but so I'm not coding. There is a separate team for that. But I spent approximately 2 years with Dariuss under his mentorship on the tribe of AI, learning the data science basics and so. So during this time, I have had a chance to take part in a couple of Kaggle competitions. We'll be very glad to share more about them, and very happy, of course, about Dariuss, because before this panel, I didn't knew that we have from Lithuania grandmasters. So very proud about this.
Yep. Again, one more follow-up question for you, Paulus. So you're not a coder, you are a manager, and I guess a top-level manager at your company, right? But you just learned to code 2 years ago and already started participating in Kaggle competitions, right?
Yeah, so my story was the following, that around 2 years ago, I came to the similar meetup like this one, but at that time it was a physical meeting, and I came with my wife. We were searching for the hobby which could unite us. So we were dancing before. And Dariuss was very convincing. He told that you know, I'm going to make it the best data scientist you know, in the world, and we believed in that and joined.
Right. Yeah, I guess I am really happy that you stopped dancing and instead started doing Kaggle. By the way, did you do your Kaggle competitions together with your wife?
Yes, we did the competitions together. Of course, we have discussed, you know, various approaches that we can use. In the first competition, we did everything ourselves, so from the scratch. Learned a lot about pandas, of course, how to process the data. But I think Dariuss will share much more in terms of you know, what are the efficient ways how to score the goal in those competitions. And maybe during this panel, we'll also share about our second competition. We have scored bronze medal already when we were, I think, in a class B or class A. I don't remember.
All right, great. Andrews, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Andrews. Currently, I'm a colleague of Dariuss, working as a machine learning engineer at Vinted. Previously, I worked at company neurotechnology, and I joined Kaggle pretty early. Like I looked today, I joined 8 years ago. So yeah, and basically it was like the main motivation was to expose yourself to various data problems, because as a neurotechnology was company focused on computer vision mainly, and Kaggle was like a venue to experience like other challenges. So my main motivation was when joining Kaggle to look for interesting competitions, which like has pursue me to drive or drive me to learn new things. And Dariuss, correct me if I'm wrong. We have two grandmasters, Lithuanian grandmasters, yeah. One is Ignas and one is you, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So Lithuania has two grandmasters, and Ignas also was ranked quite high. I didn't check before the meeting.
All right. By the way, Andrus, are you still participating? So you said you started 8 years ago, right?
The last competition was like a year ago. Now I'm basically just more interested in after the competitions write-ups. Just look what's new, and I'm not actively competing anymore. But if like competition is very interesting, I try just to join or just to try to look through submissions and so on. So kind of still getting like updates about competition finishes and looking through solutions. But not actively competing anymore.
All right. I'm very interested, and like maybe Andrus and Dariuss, maybe you can answer, one by one to this question. Very interested in how, in your eyes, the Kaggle platform and the Kaggle community evolved over the years since you started. So what was it like back in the day, and what is it like right now?
So when I joined 5 years ago, Kaggle was not, I would say, so much welcoming to beginners as it is compared to now. Well, you can actually read the discussions, write your own code. You have Kaggle Computational Resources on your hands and such. So especially the last part was not present during the time I joined. And well, 5 years ago, I think the problems and models were, let's say, more simple than current problems in Kaggle. Well, 5 years ago, Kaggle was more focused on typical machine learning problems, working with tabular data and time series and such. And since Kaggle was acquired by Google, there was a shift towards different type of competitions, mainly computer vision and deep learning, because well, the technology evolved and unlocked the possibilities to host these kind of competitions. And well, there are more problems to be solved in computer vision than compared to other sectors or so. So this shift also meant that as a data scientist, I had to reinvent myself as well. Well, you can be good at machine learning, but lack all the necessary skills to be good at deep learning and computer vision. So during those 5 years, I also had to learn stuff, lots of new stuff. And I think the main thing that Kaggle taught me is that if I want to be a good data scientist, I will have to learn new things every day and try to understand, read papers and such. So I think that is the main aspect why Kaggle is great. It motivates you to learn new things. That's my main take. So Andrus, do you have anything?
Yeah. Now Kaggle is like, very friendly to beginner, and for beginners, like a go-to platform to explore and to learn. The notebooks, the addition of notebooks to Kaggle is like very nice feature where you can just share your knowledge, because otherwise this sharing with knowledge sharing was like done in forums and the code snippets, and it's what not very not like convenient. Let's call it that. And also there are like communities formed around Kaggle, data scientist communities, Russian communities of data scientists, which like actively participate in sharing or discussing Kaggle. So in early days, you'll be like lone wolf, yeah, and now you must actively engage and try to find collaborators to get us top spots. Also, yeah, as Dariuss mentioned, the type of platforms, type of problems changed a bit, yeah, and also the shift of problems. Like earlier, there was like problems dedicated to engineering, like performance of I don't know, algorithm to like accuracy or whatnot, and now there are code challenges or just a single notebook where the main like result is an idea, not actual algorithm beating some kind of benchmark, but novel idea or just like algorithm to like and these competitions are like inspiration for the firms which like want to get like new ideas from other data scientists.
I'm very interested, actually, Andrus. What do you think about these new type of competitions where you have to come up with an idea and you're judged, in my opinion, very subjectively, rather, than just getting a very high score on the test data set? You are like valued on your analysis and the quality of your insights, etc. So what are your thoughts on that?
The competitions with metrics, yeah, metric-based competitions is also not very fair. Yeah, sometimes there is a leakage or a hidden leakage, or you overfit some part of test data. So it's not like holy grail. These like metric-based competitions, they have a share of problems, and you need somehow to score them, yeah, and you induct some kind of biases. I think that it's okay. I don't know, you may form a panel of judges, whatnot, but it's okay the organizers can choose whatever means they want. You need to trust the platform to be impartial. Yeah, basically for me it's okay. Because I see problems in metric-based competitions. They are not like fair as in like they have problems.
Yep, I guess really difficult to ensure that there are no leakages, no cheating, things like that. But I want to talk more about your experience in the competing in the competitions. And I want to ask Paulus this next question. So in what competitions did you participate, and what are the most memorable ones, and why?
Yeah, so the first competition we have taken part in was Data Science Bowl 2019. Well, it was really a difficult competition. The idea was that one company is running the educational app for the kids. So kids are interacting with the app. They're doing the measurement of various, mushrooms whatsoever. And at the end of this, let's say, measurements and everything, they're getting the exercise. So depending how they perform on this exercise, they're getting some sort of score. And you, as a participant, as a competitor in this competition, you have to forecast how well they are going to perform on certain assessment, depending on how they have interacted with the app. So I think that was a part of our one of the projects in one of the classes in Tribe of AI. We took this as a challenge because the area was quite interesting. Yes, we are from the internet company, so it was interesting to tackle such a challenge. But I think as for the beginners, it was quite difficult. So first of all, it was very difficult to in general to produce the ground truth from all the data set or all the CSV files which were available, starting from descriptions of the games, exercises, and everything, interactions, and a lot of various forms of data. So that was a difficult part, and of course the competition was really big, highly with a high amount of participants. So there were a lot of public notebooks showing how to do the pre-processing and etc. And I think that for the beginners, of course, the question comes down then how much of the stuff you want to do yourself, starting from zero, kind of process everything, prepare the train set, test set, etc. And how much you want to refer to the notebooks which are currently highly scoring, and you can actually just replicate them and search for some sort of improvements. So the first strategy we have chosen was actually to take one public kernel as a benchmark, their score, and try to beat it with our own kernel, which we wrote from scratch. So I think learning-wise, experience-wise, I think that was very, very interesting. We at the end of the day, we have been saying already, joking, that we have gained Pandas black belt after that. So we know all the possible, all the possible ways how to manipulate the data, but in the end of the day, of course, our score in the private leaderboard was quite low, and I think so that was one of the competitions where we spent really a lot of time, like tens of hours a day, and so during vacations, while we were skiing in Austria, just getting back to that, because this activity is really addictive. I think for the people who like to struggle with data, who like to dig into the numbers. So this was first the sort of experience, more significant experience with the Kaggle, because before, of course, on the platform, Kaggle offers not only the competitions. Yes, Kaggle offers also the learning tracks. Yes, which is also being used as a part of learning experience in Tribe of AI as well, and there is a community, discussion forums, and data sets, and various things. The second competition we have taken, so last year it was related to the tweets. There was a challenge to withdraw the information from the tweet. So what kind of words are defining the sentiment from the tweet? So there was a sentiment was provided. Is it positive, neutral, or negative? But you had to withdraw the data, withdraw the words and symbols which actually were used to forecast sentiment. So this time we have used a completely different strategy, and I think that what I'm sharing here is that for those who are maybe will join for the first time for the Kaggle competition, there are two very different tactics, doing from scratch and just iterating somebody else kernel. So we have found one a really strong kernel, and we just spent all of the time trying to improve it so that we would improve the public score of it. At the end of the day, of course, we found a way. So we found a way in post-processing part of this kernel. So when the results were got already, so some data cleaning and manipulating that data which is being outputted from the model helped us to score. almost a silver medal in this competition. So that was one of those different, let's say, experiences where different tactic was used. And of course, there's always the question, I think, to find the right balance between trying to learn and struggle as much and trying to score, because obviously the score in the Kaggle most likely can be influenced by various manipulations, let's say, and etc. So I would suggest also everybody not to focus too much on those numbers, because there is also a lot of spam in the platform. So just I have a goal to learn something. I think that's the biggest insight I wanted to share.
Right. By the way, you mentioned that you found a pretty good starting kernel. I was wondering, how did the original kernel's author do in the competition? Did you beat them, or did they like?
Yes, of course. Of course, there is another thing, of course, with the public kernels, especially those who are, if you are just checking those who are scoring the best, there is a lot of overfitting, yes. And after the let's say private leaderboard is being announced, usually a lot of these public kernels drop. So that's also one of the signs, not just to blindly follow somebody's kernel. That's also to check, how your cross-validation strategy works on that, and etc.
Okay. Dariuss, could you go next? Same question for you. Can you choose the most memorable competition and tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, so I think there are, I have two.
Most memorable. Sure, go do two then.
So the first one was, the first competition I actually won. And I was very happy because, well, it was like a dream come true to win something, especially in this kind of field. And on top of that, I did it in a way that no other competitor performed. So there was this anonymized data set. It seemed like a typical classification problem with unknown features and kind of medium-sized data set. And I thought, well, I know how people think when they try to anonymize the data. So having that in mind, I thought, okay, there is a possibility to reverse engineer some of the anonymized features. And of course, I was able to find that way. And well, it turned out that this classification problem actually was a time series problem. So having that knowledge, I was able to build better features and well, make a good scoring model. So no one else had done that, and it was very, very, very pleasant feeling to win this to win competition in this way. This kind of a rare event when the first place winner thinks of something different than, let's say, a second or third place competitor. So the other competition I really enjoy watching basketball, especially American basketball, NBA, and sometimes NCAA. And Kaggle has this annual competition where NCAA playoffs are, let's say, used as a competition themselves. So the goal is to let's say predict all possible outcomes of basketball teams participating in a playoffs, and you have to assign probabilities that, let's say, team A wins versus team B, and not necessarily that those teams actually play each other in the playoffs. So having this kind of structure, we just assign all the probabilities. And well, I took all the standard classical machine learning approach, so very good cross-validation, good feature selection and such. But on top of that, I was also thinking, let's see, more global. I thought, well, there is something that the models just cannot learn properly just based on like 5 or 6 years historic data. So I just looked up how, let's say, top 4 ranked teams performed in the, let's say, 10 or 20 years worth of historical data, and I just saw that those 4 teams never lose in the first round. And when I looked at my model predictions, the model predictions were not so confident that each team is going to win the top 4 team is going to win the first round every time. So I just made this simple override rule that if you're top 4 team, you're always going to win first round. And this turned out to be also the key factor why I was able to win the competition. So the Kaggle is also very brilliant in this way, that you can spend lots of time working on your data, on your models, and tweaking parameters and such, but sometimes more simple approach and simple ideas are also worth having and testing out. So that's where I feel that's why these competitions are kind of like memorable for me, and I really like remembering how the feeling of discovery of this kind of things. So this is very nice feeling, I must say.
Right. Thanks, Dariuss. Andrew, what about you?
Okay. My connection is a bit unstable, but I will maybe talk about my National Data Science Bowl competition. If this competition would be held now, it would be nothing serious, just like image recognition. You need to classify sea life like planktons, worms, and so on. But the main gist was that this competition was like before these deep learning frameworks. There was Caffe, there was PyLearn, and that's it. So no TensorFlow, no PyTorch, and no other like no pre-trained networks, no VGG, no well-known architectures. So it was like finding an America. There was all the participants were like charting the unknown. Basically, so that's why it was like very fun competition. I finished it like I got silver medal, finished in 20th place, but it was like hacking nonstop. You just needed to design architectures, make like your mistakes, do augmentations. There was no like streamlined pipeline what to do and what not to do. So it was, and we did not have like powerful GPUs. I think that at that time was like 2 gigabytes GPU, the maximum. So it was like nowadays it would be very like straightforward, not a boring competition, but at that time it was very rewarding. Like you learned a lot. When doing that, you read the papers, you just tried new obscure frameworks, lasagna, and there was like framework and lasagna and Keras. At that time, there was a big battle who would be on top, and Keras won that big battle. So yeah, it was very like memorable competition.
Okay, I have a follow-up, first to Andrews, then to the rest of you. So what do you think is the most common mistake which people make while participating in Kaggle?
I think it's like basically bad mistake choosing the validation data set. Yeah. Basically, if
can you elaborate a little bit?
If you are, the goal is to find the like validation data for your model, which corresponds to leaderboard, but like do not overfit it, yeah, basically. And if you find how, and if you construct this validation data set, you can go far. And otherwise, if you just pursue you need to believe in your validation data. Not in public leaderboard, but in your validation data. And if you make it incorrectly, you will score. And you need to believe in that if you are scoring very low. So basically, you either they overfitting, or you are like made a mistake and you will rank low.
Okay. Paulus, what do you think is the most common mistake, or I guess the worst mistake which people make?
I would say I would agree that in many cases it is overfitting, and in this regards, what people frequently do, so they don't find, for example, the correlation between their cross-validation and the results they're getting from the public kind of private leaderboard when they're submitting the kernels. If they don't find the relationship between them, then they're dropping their cross-validation strategy, and they are trying to probe the leaderboard. So just submitting a lot of submissions, 100, 200, 300, and focusing on that result. And in the end of the day, it appears that actually they have overfitted towards that, test set which was provided by organizer. But when the private leaderboard is announced, so they are dropping in the charts very low. So I think the overfitting is the most common mistake.
All right, Dariuss, what do you think?
I think I have to agree with both of you. Well, cross-validation is very important. In some sense, people tend to build cross-validation models because, well, it is a standard way of doing things, and it is actually taught in schools, and there are pretty many examples of that. But in some occasions, having just a cross-validation then is not enough. Sometimes you have to think if your approach to cross-validation is correct. So let's say you have a competition where, let's say, there can be 10 pictures of same patient in a data set. And if you just do a random split, so the same patient can appear both in your training set and in your validation set. So you just introduce bias to your metrics just by the way how you split the cross-validation. So knowing how to properly make those cross-validation splits is this is a place where many people fail. And actually there is an ongoing competition where I'm also participating, and there are lots of people posting their cross-validation scores and such, people talking how there is no correlation between the public scores. And when you just simply ask, so how did you do your cross-validation? And they explain that, and they say, well, you did things wrong, and they don't understand why. So this is a skill to learn as well, I think, just how to do the validation scheme properly in any kind of problem. Yeah.
I have another one.
Oh, shit.
Go for it.
It's called throwing a kitchen sink. When you're like starting from like over-engineered approach, and you don't know, like you do not start from simple and beginning from complicated solutions, and do not understand the data. Just throwing the algorithms and hoping for the best. Beginners usually do that.
Okay. I have a question from the audience for Dariuss. Somantas asks you, would you agree that deep understanding of statistics helped you achieve your results?
I have to completely agree with that. Well, when I joined Kaggle, I didn't feel like a beginner. I felt like, well, this is just a platform just for me. So there are two. I think there are two types of people. One is people coming from statistics and learning the programming and such, and the other people are coming from computer science and trying to learn statistics. So there is two ways of let's say converging to the data science position or so. But I think that the more advantageous position is to have a statistics skills first and then obtain programming skills, because well, you just know more stuff under the hood, why these algorithms work and fail. And when you're like a computer scientist trying to learn statistics-based things, it's they often struggle with simple concepts, and it is hard. So I think so. That's my opinion.
Okay, thanks for the answer. One more question from Mantus. Mantus asks, if you could go back in time and give 3 pieces of advice to yourself to get better at Kaggle competitions, what would it be?
This is kind of a hard question. Well, I think if I could turn back time, I would turn back to the time when I was 20, and I would say to myself that stop wasting time on university education, because I think it's getting less and less relevant, because well, all the skills you need to learn, especially in data science, are online, and they're, I think, better quality, because well, I think universities, especially in let's say developing countries, struggle to attract good professors and experts to the teaching positions in universities, and that means that well, you just not learn as much as you could if you say could spend time learning by yourself. And I think I learned this lesson when I was 25, I think, and well, I think it was kind of too late, but well, glad I did. So second thing and third thing, I just cannot remember. I think I was doing quite okay when I joined Kaggle, and I don't know. But the first one is actually true. Stop wasting time and invest in yourself. Yeah.
Sure. I just want to mention that we have amazing people, and I guess some amazing people in our universities as well. So, you know, it's you have to be picky, of course, and you have to supplement your knowledge. But just a shout out to all the amazing people in Lithuania's universities who are doing, you know, such as Linas, who are doing a really amazing job at educating the next generation.
Yeah, so I was not very, let's say, I'm not too pessimistic about it, but I think, well, you always have to look for something supplementary. Okay, you have a problem, okay, you can go to your like professor, ask things and such. But I think that I have been learning more. I've learned more things about computer science and data science more after I graduated from university than I learned during university. So if I spent 5 years in university and 5 years after university, I learned, I think, at least twice as much information and skills during the second 5 years. So.
Yep, I very resonate with what you're saying, but I'd like to give the mic now to Paulus. What are your 3 pieces of advice to yourself to get better at Kaggle?
I maybe also would reduce the scope to 1. Okay, and I think that for me personally, I think the joining of the team, I would join early on a team, and especially the team where there is at least one member who is strong, who has the experience in Kaggle, who can show the important pieces and so on. And I think here I would like to also to say what Dariuss mentioned in the beginning of this session about the tribe of AI, about recruiting of the beginners class. So I highly, as myself went through this class, so I would highly recommend people joining it. For the big reason, because there are a lot of online courses right now available. You can dig into artificial intelligence yourself easily. But the biggest problem is, majority of people do not follow through. There is a need of mentorship, and I think this is the biggest strength of Dariuss and Tribe of AI. What is the offering here? Yes, so that on a weekly basis you have some sort of touchdowns and mentorship. So the same applies, let's say, for my, biggest mistake from the beginning. What I would change, let's say, I would join the team and I would see for mentorship, because there is already shortcut. Somebody knows, the shorter path to success.
All right. Thanks for your answer, Paulus. Andrius, same question to you.
Maybe 2 points. One, Paulus also touched that. If I go back, I would join the teams, but basically most of my competitions was a solo. And another one, like to challenge yourself, like to just do it. Sometimes you see a competition and you're thinking that I'm not familiar with subject, it will be too tough for me, and you just do not engage. And afterwards, when you look at the solutions, damn, I would be able to solve that. So the advice for journeys for Kaggle: just do it. Just join us as much as you can. Do not be afraid. Engage. Read. If you do not like the medals are like supplementary thing. The experience or journey is the goal. Yeah, basically. And experiences and people who you meet on the platform or discussions you will have. That's the main the package you will take from this platform.
Yeah, I would also like to add about the teams aspect. When I started Kaggle, I joined as many teams as I could, and I'm happy I did, because it's the best way to learn things. Well, maybe your your teammates are also not as experienced as you expected, but the fact that you're working as a team is also very beneficial. And from my experience, I think I entered 10 competitions as a team, and actually I talk with almost all of them during some meetups or on Skype and such. So you make relationships with other people you might have never seen face to face, but you have this kind of connection that, well, we did something great together, and this connection kind of brings you to like after competition talks, and maybe you'll chat with that person years after the competition has ended, and this is also very say nice. I like it.
Right, great, thank you. The next question is, it's not addressed directly to Andrius, but I would like to address it to Andrius. Can you tell us about the role that the computational power plays in Kaggle, and how did that change over the years?
Now without the server, you can't compete. Without GPU server, or without like Amazon computing or Google cloud. Because basically at first you could do it on your like workstation or the competitions. If you had like decent workstation with a lot of RAM and high performance CPU, you could like compete. And now it's not the case. You can't do the competitions on the notebook, but Kaggle notebook, so it's like it gives you resources to do stuff. And some competitions are designed to not to run on limited budget. Yeah, so they mainly more interested in this limited competitions. Yeah, with limited compute power. So if you are thinking, if you are like have crappy laptop, do not be afraid. A lot of algorithms are very efficient and they run, or you can get credits. Usually, they give credits for online platforms where you execute your computations. But serious competitors have like I've seen that when they like SSH to some very powerful server and run the computations on like, I don't know, 32 CPUs and so on. It's very fun.
All right. Anyone else want to chime in on this question? Paulus, Dariuss, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I can definitely add something here. So, so having good computational resources are very, very important. So 5 years ago, it was important to have a good server with lots of CPU cores and such. So I think I had 64 core machine at one point. So it was definitely an advantage, and it definitely helps to, say, make better models. Nowadays, having a good CPU is not as relevant as having as many GPUs as possible, because, well, if you want to score a gold medal in a computer vision competition, I think you have to have at least 4 or 6 high-end GPU available to your disposal. Because, well, if you have, let's say, one desktop grade machine with a, let's say, 1080 Ti GPU, it's not going to be enough, because, well, the other team has, say, 6 cards which outperform your one card by a fraction of, say, 100 times faster. So this is, yeah, computational resources are very handy when you compete for the highest positions. But if you aim to, let's say, get at least silver medal, I think having a desktop at disposal is very is enough even nowadays. Yeah.
All right. I have a very interesting question coming from Monica. Does Kaggle Experience help you in your daily problem solving? Do the strategic thinking and being under pressure at Kaggle help with management problems, other life challenges?
I could answer that.
Sure, go for it.
If you want to, well, from my personal experience, Kaggle took a lot of time from me. So there was time where I spent 8 to 10 hours a day, every day for half a year. I had this kind of moment, and at one point I felt that I was on the verge of a mental breakdown. So I decided just to take breaks when I feel like that. But usually, if you want to achieve good positions, you have to invest a lot of time, and this is not something that everyone can afford, because time is valuable. Did it help in my professional career? So I think definitely it did. All the skills that I learned in Kaggle transferred well to the job I'm doing now. I think without having these kind of skills and knowledge, I would do completely different things now. So I think I agree with that.
I would maybe add as well to this answer. There are 2 aspects to that. So one is stretching your mind. Yes, so you can do various activities. Playing chess. doing the Sudoku, or exactly solving the machine learning, deep learning problems, right? So this definitely helps you to develop, but at the same time, it gives you also the professional knowledge. So from our side, well, our company belongs to one of the largest Europe's media and technology companies with 20,000 of employees. So we usually do the internal meetups. And some of the colleagues are coming and saying, so we are right now using BERT for this, particular problem, and you already know what is BERT, what they are doing, what they are capable to do, etc. So that definitely helps.
All right, Andrius?
Yeah, the few points that Kaggle is very vast, and you can adapt the experience to your situation. If you're working in predictive modeling, take predictive competitions. And you will enrich your knowledge if you're working in NLP, and you can want to experience another things or to enrich your knowledge of NLP competitions, NLP problems, take NLP competitions. So definitely it would help you professionally because you will know way more.
All right. I have the last question for today. Donatas is asking, so how do you find or choose the team to join?
There is luck involved in this, especially for the first time. It is, I don't know. There is not much like a factor why I chose this guy over another, because, well, I cannot explain this actually. I think there's a luck factor as well. Having a good teammate, well, there are different kind of teammates. One are good people involved doing lots of things, and the other people are like slackers doing nothing, just want to to be involved in a team but do nothing. So there are many people doing this kind of thing. So to find a good teammate is hard, and sometimes you need to get lucky. Yeah.
Andrius, Paulus, what can you add something to that?
You maybe tailor your, if you are like beginner, try to aim higher. The Kaggle has achievement system. You can try to join like more experienced team if they are willing. Otherwise, that just ping randomly and you will have a great time, I think. Otherwise, that just endure. Or you can talk to colleague and say, hey, let's join competition together, as usually we did in our.
Paulus, do you have any advice here?
Yeah, so I will just add that in all of my competitions, I was taking part with my wife. That was our team. So proximity was a criteria. But let's say, seriously speaking, I would say that there are a couple of criteria. So one is, of course, what other team members are bringing to the table. Yes, so there are situations when somebody maybe is less experienced, but they have very good computing powers. For example, they work as a lecturers in some university and they have access to nearly supercomputers, so which can help you, faster iterate through your models. This is one, this technical aspect, and another is of course what Andrius have mentioned. So the score of people, so especially if they are capable of explaining, their works in kernels, and they have a lot of good ratings on that. So that would be preferred team members, I believe.
Right. So it was really great having you all today in this panel discussion. And as I mentioned, we have a big surprise today for everybody in the Lithuanian AI community. We are announcing our own competition / hackathon. which Linas Petkevičius will tell us all about in a minute. So Linas, please join us.
So, hello, everyone. So it was really a pleasure to hear all of the panel and to discuss and share all the experience they accumulated during the time. So can I start to share the?
Yeah, please try.
Okay, give me a sec. Okay, so you should see right now. Yeah, okay. So basically, we thought that, well, basically the last and this year was quite inconvenient, and you know, the pandemic was quite an unexpected event in our lives, and so we actually thinking and forecasting that spring is around the corner, and in near future we will enjoy the good weather, and we'll go to outside much more frequently. The summer is coming up, so why not to organize one of the last for say such events while we at home, at least for now. And we decided to create some hackathon for say based on the Kaggle dataset or Kaggle competition, and I will try to present everything what we decided to bring. So basically the main idea was to propose a few additional choices, which both in general would be quite gentle for the beginners, and in such cases basically the most important thing that we actually decided not to take the grand and new and super difficult challenge, but just bring a typical data solving problem, and we created two special tracks. So mainly we're focusing that especially if you try to gain some experience in the fields that you not necessarily did some experiments before, so you had a pretty strong chance. So the main motivator is basically to enable for you to gain your additional skills in the data science as a data scientist, and also obviously as in any competition, try to beat your competitors. And we even decided to bring some small, at least, but still a prize fund for both tracks. So currently I will try to present those two tracks. So first track will be about the text analysis, and we basically decided that, well, there's a lot of interesting topics, and you probably some of you even followed that. For example, in the January there was a lot of hype about GMA and all the stocks information and so on, and we actually seeing that all the information that is available for us in various media, including the Twitter, Reddit, and etc., are quite informative. And if you can track a lot of information in real time, it brings a lot of benefits. And not only that, there's a lot of NLP tasks where various text classification might be helpful. So we decided to take a few years back introduced the financial text sentiments dataset from the Kaggle datasets as a base dataset, and this dataset basically will ask to classify various texts and messages to whether it is a positive sentiment, whether it's negative sentiment, or whether it is neutral. And so this is quite a good task because the messages and the texts are quite small if you just take the number of the words. And so basically it's quite a simple NLP task. So you can use from everything from the simple text embeddings to new large NLP models of transformers, etc. The second track, we actually thought, well, maybe not everyone is familiar with various techniques of deep learning, So in such cases, we decided to find the competition and the dataset, which could bring all the knowledge. If you had some basic knowledge from the statistics, time series, econometrics, or some classic machine learning approaches that could be used. So the second track is basically asking to predict the future sales based on the historical data. So it's quite an interesting thing, because you can manipulate the data, and it's eventually leads to the prediction. So you can use everything, the classical machine learning tools, the time series maybe analysis, so the neural networks, whatever. So basically we have quite different tracks, and you can compete in both of the tracks. So as I mentioned, the first track will be about the classification of the text sentiments. And in those cases, we just want to say whether it's the message or the tweet or the text is the positive, the neutral, or the negative. And in such cases, you just be given the data set, which will have the label column with the three classes and the coding text for this label. So basically, the training data set will be given, as well as a public test set also will be given. So basically, what you will need to do, basically make a predictions on the test set, and after nearly a week, send us the predictions. Basically, we will have such timeline that basically we will ask on the next Monday for you to do the specific make a time for specific predictions. So basically, we will provide additional private test set, only the texts, and in such we will ask for you run your model on the given text to classify to the positive, negative, or neutral messages, and you will send your predictions on the given text. So we will do additional and the final meeting after 1 week, and we will announce all the winners on both tracks, including the first track. Since the given dataset is from the Kaggle dataset, there is no competition specifically for this case. So we actually will have a lot of data which will be provided by one of the sentiment monitoring platforms, which is basically called as Shoutouts, and this platform is one of the products that is provided by the neurotechnology. So this will be the test on which we will evaluate how you will perform on this task. And the second task basically will be about how to predict the sales basically in the future. And the specific data set is constructed in such a way that there's basically a few years of historical data of various stores, and the task will be to predict what will happen in the future. So basically, whether the sales will be good or not, depending on what day of the week and whether it's a holiday or not, and so on. So basically, this will be the track 2, and the data basically will have quite a large number of rows. So basically, you will have over 1 million for the data sample points. So basically, when you run your model, you could apply various techniques, including the cross validations and so on. So there won't be an issue to have a lot of data. On the other hand, you will have a lot of quite sparse variables. So basically, you will have various dummy variables, and in such cases, you will need to think how to manipulate those kind of variables as well. So in such case, the data is given, and the private test set is also given. So in such case, you will just send the predictions at the given deadline. So once again, after the week, we will have the similar event where both tracks will be represented by folks that are quite familiar with the problems. They will talk about all the issues and all the possible solutions which could be applied in real time, and basically we will ask the winners how did they manage to solve the problems, and obviously the award ceremony will take place. So basically, all the necessary information will be put on the Facebook event page. So basically, we're saying that up to Saturday, you can register for the competition, and there will be the link for the registration. So basically, just fill the team name, your short information, the email address, and that's it. All the external communication which is necessary, maybe there will be some general questions or so on. It will be available through the Artificial Intelligence Association Slack, and the invitation to the Slack it will be also available. So basically, the deadline will be on the next Monday, and so that's probably it. So basically, the data was prepared and selected by me, Linas Petkevičius, my colleague Paulus, and one of today's speaker, Dariuss. So that's from me, and maybe there's questions or comments about this.
I don't see any questions right now. Everybody's thanking the panel for answers, and yeah, that's mostly it. I guess we should check out the Facebook page after the event today.
Yeah, great.
All right, I think, Linas, I think we can wrap up today's meeting then. So one more time, it was amazing to have all of you here. I'm really proud of like the amazing work that Linas and his team did with the hackathon. Looks extremely exciting, and I can't wait to see all of you participating and coming up with like interesting solutions. This is a great way to start your start following the footsteps of Dariuss, Andrius, and Paulus. As you see, Paulus was just a beginner a couple of years ago. Now he's winning bronze medals and being a CEO of a large company at the same time. So you can do it as well. And right now is a great chance to start. This is only for our community. There is a prize, so it's an amazing opportunity. Don't even think about it. Just go and participate. I see the final question from Jonas. Have you posted the competition link somewhere? We will do that today. Linas and I will go in all of our usual mediums, such as Tribe of AI, Facebook pages, and post the link to the event on Facebook, which will have all the details. That's registration forms, that's Slack links, etc., etc.
Yes, we'll add basically to the mainly the Facebook event, so everything will be there.
All right, so that said, thank you all, and see you in the competition. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.